We're going to have an auction now. When Tan Sri leaves, the elevator rides about 20 seconds. Who wants to go in with him to make their pitch? Okay. Just 2 months banner hand on DNA. Hey, don't need to sit down. You have to stand for me, guys.
You sit down where?
Hey, Jonathan, bro, where are you? Oh,
I thought maybe perhaps you should see over there.
no, we can know because he Johnathan is with Cradle.
Yeah.
You know, he did lobbying for the angel investor.
Yeah, that was good.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Okay, what do you story? The two of you have to share the same mic. I will use the old one. Okay, and then just let's see if we start. Hold on. Okay, please first. If you guys, all of you, okay, we can start now, yeah? If you, I guess phones on silent, goes without saying. Thanks for coming. I think one important lesson you can already learn from Tan Sri is punctuality. You just look at the time, it's really now 5:30, and maybe it's because Tan Sri does business with the Japanese also. Because some of you would know, because Tan Sri know, because you know that my wife is Japanese. If you don't, you know now. And my father-in-law, and she gets very stressed out every time I go to Japan because I'm late, you know, or whatever. And then once my father-in-law told me, he spoke in Japanese, she translated. He said,
you can speak Japanese,
no, but when she scolds me, I understand what she says. Not yet, I haven't done yet. So the interesting thing is, my father-in-law says, in Japan, if you go for an appointment and if you are late, it shows three things about you. It shows one, that you are unprofessional, second, that you are rude, and third, that you don't respect the person you're going to see. You know, it's like you get stabbed 3 times, and I say, oh my God. So that was a very powerful analogy, a simple one he shared with me. So it's incredible that Tan Sri has come on time. And really now we're just going to get started without any further ado, right? I will just take off my jacket because it's getting a bit warm. And also, Tan Sri, the funny thing about this center is that the aircon gets shut at 5:30, but it kicks in again at 6 o'clock. They've got a special allocation. So, Tan Sri also has kindly agreed to do after this, when we're done in 1 hour, he will just do a bit of networking with you guys, and then he'll give a quick 15-minute interview to Malaysia SME magazine, which has asked for it. So, you know, that'll be good for them. And we will just get started now. I guess what happened and why we invited you is that, I got to switch on the mic. Okay, what happened is that why we invited you when we had the first event last month, we were asking, I spontaneously asked the audience whether they would like to see you come and speak and share your experience as an angel investor. And a lot of them said yes. And I would have forgotten about it, but during the budget then, they had that incredible incentive, right? And it's great that Tan Sri acknowledges Vincent, Johnathan, and Cradle, because, you know, they were the ones who pushed for it. Fantastic. It suddenly brings the angel scenario alive in Malaysia, that we can possibly kickstart that, you know, which is an important part of getting this ecosystem complete, right? Because many facets of it, the angel one is missing. It's there, but not as much as we would like, right? So it's great. Then when that happened, I said, hey, we got to get Tan Sri here, and graciously enough, he has agreed to, and he's sitting here now. So we will get started. Very casual, I told Tan Sri. He's normally not usually hanging out with groups of hungry entrepreneurs in this large scale. But I guess, Tan Sri, I can ask just the first question, which was like, when did you get interested, right, in the internet? It's already done.
Yeah.
Is it? Can you hear it?
No, I think not.
Oh, sorry, I pressed the button. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello. Okay, no,
Okay.
Hey, those watching from Google Hangout in Singapore, you know what the infrastructure is like there.
Well, he's
200%.
He's a good Malaysian. So, well, I think you all may have read that during the internet boom, so everybody wants to get into the internet business. So was I, and during that time, I did a very silly thing. I went and sold my stake in DG. Silly would be an understatement. I sold it when it was around 6 billion valuation. Today it's 45 billion. So it's not silly. I think it's really stupid. So then I had some extra cash, a bit of cash here and there. So quite a few people approached me on investing. So and then I was reading. Well, one of the things that I do is, I read a lot. I'm trying to make up for not being able to go to the university. So I read a lot. I read all kinds of stuff. So you see, Berjaya is a very unfocused group. It invests everything from A to Z. So usually my friend asks me, those who know me afterwards, okay, which business are you all not in?
That's a shorter answer, right?
They don't ask which business you are in. Take too long. So, like I said, I read a lot, diversified interest, so we get involved in many things. Not very focused. It's good and bad. It's good when you're in an industry that is in recession during that time, and then you've got other businesses that are doing well, so it's okay. So it's like Malaysia, diversified economy, don't rely only on one thing. So we have many things. And so I thought internet would be a good area to invest. And so I get to meet people, and it's always introduced by people who know my people, sometimes know my family members. So I hear them out, and I put out a lot of money. I think probably invested in 20 over ventures. Maybe I invested 200 million. So a few good ones. Luckily, some 2 or maybe 3 or 4 made it. One is, of course, Ganesh. One is the most famous, and then there's this Kinetic. It's a .com registrar that does quite well. It actually does very well, but it's a bit more low profile. And then there's some other software things I invested, also low profile. And so maybe about 4 or 5. Of course, the Ganesh one is the one that did very well. And I invested, when I met Ganesh, he was 19 years old. So I hear his story and I agreed to donate to, invest 2 million.
Yes, sir, you shouldn't ask for angel investment, you should ask for angel donation.
So I invested 2 million with Ganesh, and well, originally they actually asked for 4 million, but after you go through all the things, actually 2 million will do it. And after I agreed, I said okay, agreed, and then I said I write you the check. Wrote the check. Ganesh went back, told his mom he's quitting university immediately because he just got 2 million. So I thought, Ganesh, that's the smartest thing you have done.
I hope there are no university guys here.
Maybe I was sour grapes, because I couldn't go to university, so I thought everyone shouldn't go. So I invested 2 million in Ganesh, and over the years, but the word angel, angel is a messenger of God. We all know different religions, whether you're Muslim or Christian. Angel, we got all angels by many names. So angel investor is a very, very, what should I say, as a generous term for these investors. Because not all investors are angel. They start angelic, and along the way, they may turn out to be the angel you don't want to meet. So I think Ganesh was quite lucky because over the years, if 2 million would have just had been it, that would be nice. But today, MOL is worth, we're going to take it for listing. I think it's worth about $1 billion, which is not a valuation. It's over more than $1 billion ringgit. But over the years, I've invested actually almost 80 to 90 million in MOL. But it's in and out. We put in, we take back. We lease it. For I remember 35 million because all these young fellows say, "Oh, I must lease." So okay, we'll lease it 35 million, and then we bought it back for 65. We do all these kind of silly things. I do that all the time. So we go evaluate 35 million as every pay, and then later buy it back from them for 65 million after 3 years. So those who bought actually they doubled their money, almost doubled their money. Yeah, but then we decided that if we don't privatize it, it's not really going anywhere. So we privatize it, and then our focus, and of course along the years we invest more. Like I said, for example, we bought many different invest different things. So MOL becomes an angel company itself, investing different things. But most of the time, of course, Ganesh come and convince me, and we discuss. But of course, you convince me, I must be convinced, and I think, okay, we'll put a couple of million here, couple of million there. So we keep doing things. So over the years, up to now, for example, in 2009, we bought into Friendster. That was a deal that needs to be done very fast, like a week or so. Come and talk. This bunch of investors, these angels of Friendster, they've been there so long to sink money. So need a lot of guts to invest in that because they have a loss of average about 10 to 12 million US, not ringgit a year. So I said, okay, we buy this. Now we're going to make it work. So they have so many members, they're 140 million, big numbers, but active one is, at that time I was told it's about 40. And then of course it goes down. As Facebook grows bigger, it goes down. So probably maybe, and today I understand it's about 4 million active members. But when we bought it, we said 12 million, how did they lose 12 million? Because they have an office in the US, they have an office in Sydney, they have an office in Singapore. So we said, okay, we went through the numbers and said, okay, first thing, and then they have a big office, which you believe it, in Philippines. Have the most employees in Philippines. That was the smartest thing they did. So we went through the thing and said, okay, we will close US office, we close Sydney, and then we remove a few overpaid people in Singapore. We cut down almost 9 million or 10 million. So it's almost, I think this year is, well now this last year we lost 1 million, I think, and this year it's going to break even. But that wasn't the greatest thing. The greatest thing is got a bunch of patents that we could, do some deal with this big company, and then they give us their share, and then in the end we did very well. So we are lucky. We're lucky.
That's very honest of you to admit.
We were lucky. But of course, we also knew those things were there. So those things have got some value, but we don't really know how valuable it is. Sometimes, you buy a bunch of things, suddenly you go and look into the cupboard, something that could be more valuable than the things that you are thinking about, So we were lucky. And so and then we are doing more things. For example, because I told Ganesh, you should make MOL to go into every continent in the world. To go to Latin America, so we're doing that. We should go to Europe. So it's buying a big company, Turkey, which is the biggest in the same business, and it's in India, Vietnam, everywhere. Also buying a line. So So MOL will be a very interesting company. So we thought after we do this, we'll probably take it and list it back in KL, in Busan, Malaysia. So we thought we should support Malaysia more and list it in Malaysia. So that's what we're doing with this. And so what I want to say is this, some words of advice. You see, Fraser was very interesting that there was Philippines, because the wages is so much lower compared to whether US or Sydney or Singapore or even here. The people are paid much lower than even in Malaysia. So sometimes you start business, everybody wants the big pay or the current pay that they're getting and all this. It's very hard to work. So when you start a new business, just like when I started business, I come from a poor family, you really have to rough it out. So my word of advice is, when you start business, if you get paid 50,000 somewhere, you want to start a business, you don't expect 50,000, the company pay you 50,000, then you get a few more followers, that the company go bust very fast. So cost is very important. And sometimes Malaysia also cost is going up. For example, I know the telco sector, my God, everybody's pinching everybody. And they're doubling their salary, giving 50% increase. Soon it'll be crazy. So things like that. And what else? So we need to stay competitive. We need to stay competitive. Competitiveness is very important. And one of the sad thing that is affecting us is the standard of English is, what should I say? It's terrible, pathetic. You pity those people who don't have the opportunity, like all these guys here in the room. All you guys have opportunity like us. Although I studied up to Form 5, I went to English medium school. And my Malay is also pretty good. My only regret is I didn't go to a Chinese school, so I don't know Chinese. And but we are Chinese, so we can speak. I can speak Mandarin. I can get by, cannot engage in a serious business discussion.
Actually, just let me, sorry, I will ask you, sorry if I can just we'll have to share one mic. This mic is not giving too much feedback. I guess when you talk, you said earlier that you read a lot, right? So is that how you follow developments in technology, or now, I guess in the last 3 years, because you've got Ganesh there, and you can bounce things off you, or he will tell opportunities when he sees them to you, How is that balance? Because I did remember you told me earlier on you read a lot, and I'm surprised. So what kind of technology reading you do, if any?
No, I read widely, and sometimes if I read something interesting, very often I tell Ganesh, you should go and look at this. For example, there's this young man in Bangalore that is doing this stuff, hey, go and have a look. Whether we can, go and put some money with him and stuff like this. So when I read, I will probably send him a short SMS, look at this, look at that. And sometimes he send me stuff, then we read, we talk, and then we see whether we should put in some money. So, and that's how MOL keeps growing to different countries. Of course, I actually push him and say, hey, Ganesh, we can make this bigger. 1 billion ringgit is, in the context of where you read what is going on overseas. We are like a real minnow. All whales out there. Whales in China, whales in what? I'm sure you all heard the story of Tencent. This, I think it was American fund bought 50% of Tencent for 3 million when the Ma What thing was starting it. He paid 3 million US for 50%, American fund. So this South African company offered them 30 million. You paid 3 million. After 3 years, somebody come and offer you 30 million. It's fantastic. You want out. The guy who paid 30 million today is worth my God, maybe 20 billion US. Companies worth 50, 60 billion US. US, I'm talking a ringgit. So these are the kind of opportunity. So I always say, I always say, oh, how come I'm not in China? How come I'm not in Silicon Valley? I could have given, I could all these young guys, even the Google guys, those I could have given them the gun there. But somehow, what to do? My parents are here. And I was born in the US. I was born in China, near Ma Huating, and then become his partner.
No, but I think there are a lot of other Malaysian, successful entrepreneurs like you, and really they would probably prefer to invest in brick and mortar companies or stuff like that, But you have shown, of course, you've got diversified, but you've got a strong interest in the technology portfolio also. And I'm wondering where that spark came from. Is it just really from your reading, or you got into a telco space, right? And then suddenly made a lot of money from there and said, hey, this telco is technology also. This space is interesting. Did it just happen in a way, like by circumstance, and not strategic?
No, it is also, like I say, I'm a very unfocused person. So I'm very diversified. I'm looking at all kinds of stuff, looking at new things. So sometimes I have a very wild ideas. I bring to my management and say, no, please don't do that. So I read a lot, and that's why I thought. And then, of course, those days you read all the valuation of this internet company in US, and we wonder why we are not in it. So that's how this wondering and whatnot. But overall, I say my experience has been excellent, because I always say I'm lucky on the law of average. Law average. I always tell this guy, hey, no matter how ugly you are, you ask 10 girls to go out for a date, I bet you one will go out with you. It can be the ugliest guy, doesn't matter. You just stop sweetly to her, 10 girls, one will go out with you.
Really, ladies,
yeah? Sure, for sure. Then recently I was talking to my football coach, in Cardiff, because I was telling him, I'm not an expert in football. My people always tell me, don't teach you how to run a thing. But I think I have a strong opinion that you must tell the players to make a lot of goal attempts. So I said, what is good? So he said, so what do you mean? I said, I want them to shoot the ball straight into the net. Don't pass here, pass there, and always.
We are all influenced by Spain.
I say you pass there, and after the while, the opponent get the ball, never go near them. I say you just shoot it in. I say more goal attempt. So he said, yeah, but we have to do this so that. I said, never mind. I'm thinking about law average. So I told him. The coach is tall, very handsome. So I said, for example, I told you about this. You ask 10 girls out of date, how ugly you are, one will go out. Or then he said, oh, if I ask, all 10 will go out. So I said, yeah. I said, yeah. I said, Malky, yeah, you're right. You are all your handsome. I'm sure they all go out with you. But I think if you keep 10 goals, 10 won't go in, but one will go in. So I said, I want that one to go in. So if you have 20 goal attempt in the game, well, we have a good chance of getting at least 2.
So it needs to be aggressive. I got a question for you. I guess one of the questions people wanted to ask Tan Sri was that when you make investments in startups, do you always want a clear majority? Because I've heard that of you, and what we seem to learn from the Silicon Valley is that you cannot take a majority when you invest in a startup, because then the entrepreneur loses their hunger. So you're a
We don't know. Yeah, I mean, not always. We can, I've invested in the China company, this China thing. We started with 30%. We are now still about 30%. And same thing, we start with 3 million, and then, so now it's about 17, 18 million US. So not all the time we want majority. But of course, majority will be nice, and I think I'm a good investor. Or like I said, sometimes angel turns to be non-angelic. But I think I'm always try to be an angel over time, so that when I put in 2 million, look at Ganesh, I put in 2 million, eventually, all in actually it cost me 90 million, but not only 90 million, in between, for example, we buy 38 million, we paid cancer 38 million, it's 100 over million ringgit. It's 100 over million ringgit. So how do they finance it? So I put in maybe 18 million, and then I ask the bank to lend me 20 million. How does the bank lend me 20 million? Vincent Tan must sign personal guarantee, number one. Number two, must also give security. You know, Malaysian bank, kiasu one. Although I do business with a lot of banks, but they're all kiasu. That's why you go to the bank, borrow money, very susah. You need to, you ask your father to mortgage his bungalow, not then the bank gives you some money. But you just go in, I got a great idea, I can bet you no bank gives you money. If he gives you money, it's not a bank. No, but this guy will give you money. Yeah.
Okay, good. I guess before I move on to Johnathan, just one question when you said, when entrepreneurs come to you and if you want to invest in an entrepreneur, what is it that you look for in the entrepreneur before you decide, yes, I can bet on them? Because we seem to be told that at the end of the day, an angel makes investment because they think this entrepreneur has it, has what it takes to succeed. What do you look for in that entrepreneur?
Well, like I said earlier, of course we want commitment. We want to make sure that the guy is not collecting too much salaries, that he's starting it so that he gets himself paid himself. Some people do that. Some investment we see, or they start, they say, oh, my old job, I get paid 100,000, so I'm going to pay 100,000. So if like this, if you look at this kind of thing, then you'll say, oh, this guy is not as committed as he should be. Just take a pay cut, be willing to rough it out and then build a business. That's how business can be built. You build a business on luxury. I still want a driver. I want, big car, all the luxury. So these are important factors. But at least you know that, you're not going to pay a lot, invest a lot, and half of it every month goes to all their salaries. And so this is one consideration. But having said all that, finally, we have to bet on the law of average. Because some may show you impressive plan. Plans are always impressive. Who gives you a plan is not impressive. You don't go to tell someone that plan is not impressive. You want to promise the sky. You go right and say, oh, my problem is if you invest this, I think in 5 years this can be worth 500 million. Of course, everybody tells you how fantastic it is. And then you have to make a call. And of course, if we are confident, if it's just, we are the only one that he wants to invest with him, naturally we want a majority so that we can, they will listen to the angel.
Okay, so you've had issues where the entrepreneur doesn't listen to your angelic advice.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, some of these startup, all these people, they come from all these, so they're all very smart. So not the time they listen to advice because maybe they say, I don't understand the space. Maybe I'm 60 years old. This space is for 30 to 40 and whatnot, or 20 plus. But believe me, I may not work, but I read a lot and I understand the space. But it's sometimes, of course, we don't make the right call.
That's natural, yeah. Okay. I guess let me now move over the mic to Johnathan and have him share with us, what are some of the insights, and some clarity on this government's, ruling that it's not really a ruling, it's going to be a piece of legislation, I guess, right? That will encourage angel investors to come in. So I'll pass him the mic and then we'll move back. We've got another 35 minutes because we want to end this in an hour, and then we can, Tan Sri has agreed to mingle with you guys, and you can do your thing and then impress him, and then he's going to have just a short interview with SME Magazine, like I said. So, Johnathan, I'll just pass you back from behind Tan Sri. Pardon, Tan Sri.
Thank you.
No, and I just realized it's one thing is true. They say when you gain a Tan Sri or Dato-ship, you lose your name because nobody calls you by your name.
That's right. Well, thanks. Very insightful information, Tan Sri. If you don't mind, I can call you Vincent.
Yeah, please.
They call me that overseas all the time.
That's good. That's good. Well, a little bit about the tax incentives. So you know, the budget that was announced by the PM recently announced that there was going to be a tax incentives for individual investors. Now, the nitty-gritty details are not being finalized yet. It will be finalized by Ministry of Finance and Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri. So whatever I say today doesn't really matter. So it will change anyway. But we do hope to see some positive outcome from it. We've been lobbying for the tax incentive, as in Cradle has been lobbying for a little over 2.5 years now. So, so we were very pleased. And when we lobbied for it, we were actually after not necessarily high net worth individuals like Tan Sri, but actually more of the masses, people who are more high income individuals who have some residual income they would like to invest or diversify their investment from the more traditional like property or even the listed stocks in Bursa into more private equity. It's very high risk, we understand that, and that's why we push for the tax incentives. So we are gunning for people with high income.
What's the definition? I mean, it's like 200,000, gross income a year, and you qualify.
So we're looking at somewhere in the range of about 180,000 per annum.
15,000 a month salary, right?
It's about 15,000. So the minimum investment we are hoping for is about 5,000 per individual, and can go up to about $500,000. So these are things that are on our wish list. Whether it's approved or not, it depends highly on the powers that be.
Yeah. I guess one already get asked is, if you invest in a startup and if it fails after 3 years and you put in $500,000, so can you then claim back the full $500,000 against your personal income tax then? And over a period of years?
It's one for one investment. So if you invest a ringgit, doesn't matter how much you invest, but up to a maximum of $500,000. So that's what you can claim back.
And over a few years, like you can claim over a few years. Oh,
well, that has to be finalized by MOF. But there is a 2-year withholding period because on our side they are also concerned with fraud. So the investors need to hold the share and add value to the company for a period of 2 years before they claim back the incentives. Okay,
but you can only claim back, I guess, if the investment has failed, right? It's not if you made money. Right?
No, if the company is successful, you can still claim back.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what we're hoping for, because I mean, like what Tan Sri says, law of average. So we want more people to invest in more companies, therefore creating more successes.
Yeah, but you're now giving more competition to a hardcore angel like Tan Sri.
I'm sure Tan Sri is always looking for qualified investors to partner up with who can add value in the company. We're not just looking for people with money. We're looking for people who have the financial ability and also the value add into the company. So just having 180,000 per annum is insufficient. You need to be able to add value to the company. Opening up your network, if you have Tan Sri's network, it will be great. Yeah. Or even adding value like Tan Sri gives advice to the company. Those are the type of angels we are actually after. People who are professional and have this high income that can add value and invest in company.
Okay. I guess I'm going to open it up to the crowd also if there are any questions, right? So I've got a couple more questions, but please put up your hand. And maybe this high-tech mic will work out there away from the other mic, right? So if anyone has a question, just grab the mic and okay, the button is underneath there. Sorry, just pass it at the bottom. Just try and push your question. Just identify yourself and then obviously got a couple more questions for that. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, I'm Farhan from Retrometry. Okay. I was wondering what you're thinking about these new crowdsourcing investments like Kickstarter and all that. Is it part of your plans now?
So say again.
The crowdsourcing like Kickstarter with micro investments.
There's many people put in an investment because they like a company. So like he's saying, it's a form of angel investing, but you put in very little money. Everyone gets a piece of the company, then shares, not percentage.
No, yeah. I mean, we can look at it. Talk to Ganesh. Talk to Kenneth. If you know Kenneth Chang, Kinetics. Talk to my people. They can bring it to me. I can send me an email. I will look and then I will ask my guys to talk to you all direct. Sure, we look at all kinds of stuff. We are willing to put some money here, some money there. Like I say, diversify. And then we hope we have as we have more experience, where our, let's say, our batting average goes up. Hopefully, our goal attempt score more goal.
Okay, yeah. Okay, Tan Sri, I'm going to ask you a question after I go to Johnathan. But the question I'm asking you, just think of the craziest pitch that an entrepreneur has given to you. You know, that in the end, then you decided not to, but which was actually crazy. What do you think of that, Johnathan? In terms of the angel scenario in this country, I guess we all tend to think that there are not enough angels. And really, actually, even when I was in Singapore, entrepreneurs there said the same thing. You know, which is ironic. And just like we complain about education system here, you find even people in the West complain about their own education system. So this is one of those things that there's never enough. So what is your perspective of at least within the region, right? Because then of course, like if Doc Sifa is here, he'll tell you about that Singapore company, Crystal Horse, that has made 7 investments in Malaysian tech companies, right? Yeah. So you hear that and you say, hey, you know, it's stronger there. So,
well, Crystal Horse is here. Kelvin, can you just stand up?
yeah.
So go to him for money. Well, Kelvin
make a detour here first.
Well, Kelvin is also part of Virtuous Investment Circle, which is a small little angel club that we are both part of. There's a small numbers of angel members in that club. So obviously, being a small club, the amount of deals that they can see and bet to and invest is somewhat limited. But VIC, according to Bob, in the last year or since they kickstarted in 20F, has made more than 10 million worth of investment in various different type of startups. So the investors are there, and then you have groups like Become Angel Chapter, you have AIPO, Business Angel Club. Those are various clubs. They are currently in Klang Valley as well, also some parts of Malaysia.
And then those of you who disagree with Johnathan, please challenge him. Just because he's got the mic doesn't mean he cannot be challenged.
So there are angel investors around, and then of course there are individuals like Tan Sri who are always looking for the next big thing that he can put his money in. It's whether you can get to these guys and you can convince them that you are worth the money, you know. So you can't just go and wait for the money to fall on your lap. It doesn't happen. So I always encourage entrepreneurs to go out, network, you know, talk to people who can then introduce. You may not know Tan Sri, but eventually, law of average rate or 6 degrees of separation, somebody will know somebody who can then eventually introduce you to Tan Sri.
No, you will send me an email. We'll read it. I'll read it.
What's that right? Okay, that's it. What's your email?
tsvt@berjaya.com.my.
Oh, we'll have it now. The whole world has it now.
So just send an email and then we'll look at it. You know, I read all my emails. So of course, not those, there's a lot of emails. Scan, what do you call that? We don't read. But people will send in and we'll talk about a proposal. We'll look at it. I think someone sent me one this here today. He says here, I'd like to meet me. Well, you know, we can meet. So just send an email, you know, I look at it, I pass to one of my guys to say, hey, follow up, find out more, and you know, we can never know what happened. But actually, I want to add, actually in Malaysia, there are a lot of angel investors. I think many people invest, except that it's low profile, and a lot of people don't get to know. Like, for example, you know, Dr. Vincent Lee of Star, he invested in this soft space, which then now MOL has joint venture with them, you know. So there are a lot, except that maybe some are still out there, not ready or low profile, or they be very profitable, and not many people know. So if you say investors, I think angel investors, plenty. It's just that anyone with money just going to approach them, you know. Most people, you know, especially those who continue want to do more business. Some of money, they want to play golf every day, so maybe maybe that one they may not be so keen. So there are still a lot of people who want to invest. So just have to make a call.
Make a call. Yeah. I guess just DNA's own personal experience when we wanted to launch, we went to an angel and I asked a guy for 800,000 ringgit. Yeah, and instinctively his reaction was that for that amount of money I can invest in a high-end property and I can go to sleep 3 years later, and these are almost his words. So for once as a journalist, I'm not exaggerating. So say I can wake, you know, after 3 years I can wake up and I know I would have made money on that investment. Whereas if I give you the money, I'll be worried every day whether you're making the right decisions or this and that. I thought, wow, this thing you hear about people comparing an investment in an entrepreneur with investing in property, right? It's really true, man. It's not some, hype thing. So I was amazed.
Yeah, no. At the end of the day, investment in properties are low-hanging fruits, right? So in a developing country like Malaysia, those are still prevalent. What I will always tell high net worth people that I meet is, as a good or smart investor, you want to diversify your portfolio. And again, if that guy was just to invest in yours, of course he will sleep every day. Again, back to the law of profit, he needs to split his investment into several different companies and different industries, different stages, where he knows that one of it will then return his investment. So, I mean, the risk and reward are there. I'm sure Tan Sri has his fair share of failures, but for those that succeed like him now, it's very rewarding, not just financially, but you learn as well as you're growing with the company.
Yeah. Do you have an anecdote of an entrepreneur, the craziest business plan or proposal you received and you said no?
I think there are so many, I can't remember. There's so many because I really get a lot of, there are many and I can't remember which is the craziest. When you don't do it, some are quite crazy. Yeah.
I guess, okay, a question is, if your friends, right, that's a question I had, they ask you whether they want to be an angel investor, what would your advice be to them?
No, I think I would advise them that, if you have surplus money, you're already invested, you're a wealthy person, you should invest because you help to start, create employment in the country. You give our young people, a chance. Maybe one day we will have, Mark Zuckerberg here. We have the Google founders. So those who are wealthy should and give the young people a chance. After all, when I started out, so there are people who help me along the way, and that's why I make it. And of course, you have to put in a lot of effort, and like I say, you have to be lucky too. And then there are people who give you a helping hand along the way. So I would advise my wealthy friends they should look and invest, and you can never know, you can hit something really big. And like I said, I put in 200 million, so it looks like I lose most of it, but then 2 or 3 that survives more than pay for what I've invested over the years. Maybe I put 200 million and maybe another 80, 90 million, so maybe 280. But today, what I have invested in this space, just the internet, I don't talk about the telcos. Telco is different, that is. So it's probably worth about maybe 1.3, 1.4 billion valuation value. So it's done very well. I mean, it's over the years, it's paid very well over 12 years. But I did very well in the telco business. But that is different. That was big capital. You could put a big capital and take a lot of risks. Yeah.
I guess if one question I had is, if somebody comes to you and they have failed before as an entrepreneur and they're giving you a proposal, or and would you consider investing in somebody who has failed before? What would you say? Because obviously, in the Silicon Valley, they probably say the more times you fail on other people's money, and you pick up all that learning and that experience, right? And you're better prepared then to run your next venture, whether it's your fourth or your fifth. And we are led to believe that people will be more willing to invest in you because you obviously still have the passion. You're out there.
Well, I think it looks at his what I will look at his latest proposal, and then find out what he has failed and why he failed. And probably his latest proposal is interesting. Doesn't matter that he has failed. I think there's nothing wrong with failure. I mean, if you are afraid to fail, you will not try. You will not go out and do it. You will not quit your job, and And I always remember this when I was starting out. I read this book. I read this saying by I think it was President Roosevelt. I think it was him. He said this, and this quote stuck in my mind, and I remember it so well. I can quote it. to you all now, verbatim almost. This is what he said. He said, far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumph, than to take rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy much nor suffer much, and who does not know the difference between victory and defeat, and between success and failure. So basically, this quote is to tell you, go for it. Don't be afraid that you will fail, because at least you will also taste failure and understand failure, and it'll make you a better person, more resilient after that. So failure isn't, you fail once doesn't mean it's the end of the world. There are some people who have gone bankrupt. Well, bankrupt business, okay lah. I mean, no bankrupt spending credit card. Going to nightclubs, handing bills, go bankrupt, that one fine. So, bankrupt in business is okay. They go and bankrupt, the business don't do well, they go bust. They're given a chance again, they will come back. So, like I said, I always remember this saying, and so remember what I said about this saying.
I think just generally it was very inspiring for me. It's great. But then to play the devil's advocate, when you're a successful entrepreneur with the same saying, right? Wouldn't you? But you have thousands of people working for you who dare not dare, right? They dare not try. They're comfortable in there. So do you then internally challenge your people to say, "Hey, I will find you to come up with something interesting or crazy to go and do"? Because you hear that of the big tech companies, right? They try to build entrepreneurs from within. Have you ever done that within the group itself?
Yeah, of course. To what I said just now is when you have made it. Of course, we want to hash our risk better. We don't want to put everything into a basket and risk it all. But having said that, I was very impressed. In the last 2 days, I read about SoftBank going to buy Sprint in US.
Yeah, but the share price is getting killed, right?
$20 billion US. But just remember this. This is Yoshi's son. I think I met him once. Just remember this. In 2006 or 2005, around 2005, maybe 2006, 6 years ago, he bought Vodafone wants to exit Japan. He bought Vodafone for 15 billion US. The whole investment community in Japan say it's crazy, it's going to fail. He did so well, and he's very big. He became the second richest man in Japan, ranking by Fox. And today he's taking this back, and his stock price has dropped maybe 10 or 20% in the last few days while he was contemplating this. Does it deter him? No, it doesn't. He pressed forward, and my gut feel is he will make it. He will do well. He will make it because what Sprint needs is an entrepreneur like him who has taken this kind of bet and made it, and he can bring the same talent, managerial skill that he has, and entrepreneurial skill to make Sprint work now. You'll be surprised Sprint may one day overtake AT&T, or at least Sprint will be a strong number 2 or number 3. Number 3, and will be profitable. So he's like almost, although he's not totally betting the house, but he's almost like betting the house, because he's still got debt in his company, and he's taking on paying 15 billion, and that company has got debts also. So if you add it all up, you think this is crazy. And the man is worth 8-9 billion. Why is he doing all that? Maybe he must be thinking of Ted Roosevelt's.
He's just maniacally driven again. But that's great. Hey, you know what? We have already picked up some interesting insight from Tan Sri. First, he's given us all a scoop, right, in journalism parlance, because he said that he just got the valuation for MOL, which is 1 billion ringgit. I'm sure Ganesh will not have been too happy for them to share the room of 200 people and how many people watching. So that's great. And also the fact that he's also given us a stock tip, right? I mean, if you want to invest now, you go and buy SoftBank because the share price, I've been watching, is tanking.
So,
Yeah, so
I think you have extra cash, you go buy SoftBank shares. I think you will do well, maybe, 06, maybe about 5 years time. Maybe it will double, triple, who knows, But he's quite a guy. I mean, if you read about SoftBank, what he has done, he's incredible. He's pretty young too, I think. It's maybe now about 50, early 50. It's pretty young. Well, pretty young because it's been around so long.
Okay, guys, you got any more questions? Because we will wrap up in 10 minutes. Okay, we've got hold on, Evelyn here. Can you get the super duper high tech sensitizer mic?
Tan Sri, this question actually has to do with your thinking on whether people will pay for education here for self-directed learning. You talked about English and the weaknesses here in Malaysia, perhaps in Asia. We know things like Khan's Academy, Rehan School is quite popular in other places. But here people seem to like to go to classes. What if we put education on the web? Do you think it is viable that people would actually pay to learn for themselves?
Okay, just a quick one then. A question I want to ask the audience before Tan Sri answers. Think of an angel experience you have had, and if you're willing to share that, right? Share that and get Tan Sri's take on what he thinks of that situation. Yeah, that would be interesting. If someone can share that. Okay.
No, I think sure. I mean, people will pay, but problem in the net, people don't pay too much. There's so many free stuff on the net, so people won't pay too much. And yeah, I mean, if it's a compelling, what you can convince people, of course, if all the most of the students for this, unfortunately, at the lower income. So actually, what I have done is I've got this young man here. Raj, would you like to stand up? Raj Singh, his father is an incredible man. His father and both he and his brothers, they actually set up free schools to teach people English, and they call it SOL 24/7. SOL stands for Science of Life 24/7. But their focus is on English. Now, I've always felt that, a lot of us, most of us here, we are so fortunate that we have the benefit of an English medium of schooling, and we, you go up to Form 5, your English is pretty good. You can read and write, so you can learn a lot. I always say, in the internet, if you don't know English, wow, it's a real big handicap. Can you imagine if Malaysia would try to translate all the information in the internet to Malay, and then what the Malay have written to English? Maybe we need 500,000 translators. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe not so many. But even 100,000 translators, where do you get them? So the reality is English is so important. So I'm trying to contribute because I thought I'm blessed in this. I would like to give back. So one of the things is I found this organization. They did an incredible job of teaching people English. And the father actually went to Cambodia because he thought Malaysia doesn't need it. And they did. They helped so many people in Cambodia. Then they went to Papua New Guinea. So they also have in Malaysia. I mean, the father could have been a wealthy man, but he just wanted to do this. So I truly admire the father. So my foundation, I got a foundation called Better Malaysia Foundation. Last year I chose his father as a personality of the year, and I gave the father 500,000 ringgit as a cash award. You know what the father did with 500,000? He gave most of it away to his teachers and volunteers. So what they did is they bring in, for example, a lot of students. They have a school here in Skambut. They have 100 students who stay there. And most of them after Form 5 or SPM. They are people from Orang Asli, they are from Sabah, Sarawak, and low-income people. They can't speak English. After 6 months, they all can speak very fluent English. They have got this program, it's an English immersion. And then they make it, you'll be fine if you speak anything other than English. So they come in, they have to struggle with English, they must speak English. That's a fantastic program. So I say, this is the party that I'm looking towards to help me in spreading English, to help more people in this country speak English. So I pledged to give them 10 million. So they have, they didn't really spend that much, maybe $1 million now. I say, go and build more center, then maybe we can donate more money, and then I can later get some other people to donate, So we at least complement what the government is trying to do now also. Of course, we all know that education policy is very sensitive to talk about it. But so regarding what you say about English, I'm sure the people will pay for it. But unfortunately, those who need it are the people in the kampong, in the what, in Klang Valley. Most people that middle income and upper middle income will be able to send their children some to private school, or at least give them tuition, English tuition. And then some even you send them to Chinese school or national school, Malay school, or Malay medium school. Parents speak English at home. So some children grow up thinking their mother tongue is actually English. A lot of us speak English with our children, And for some of my children, they only speak our dialect is Hokkien only with my grandma. With those who don't speak English. So what I think people will pay, but not too much. And the problem is low income people. So maybe if you come with a program like this, some people have to fund them. And unfortunately, it is so sad, that the future poor boys out there in the village, like I was when I was young, would not be able to have this opportunity of the benefit of a good English medium schooling. It's a bit unfortunate. And I always say it's very important, and I say to every country I go. I want to relate to you. I went to Vietnam and met the president of Vietnam early days when we were investing in Vietnam about 4 or 5 years ago. So the president was telling me, we thank you for investing in Vietnam. We need a lot of jobs for people. We have too many people. So he said, we're going to hit almost 90 million, too many people. So you know what I told him? I said, Mr. President, to me, people is an asset. I tell him, can you imagine if China only had 100 million? I think you're not afraid of China. Okay, imagine if China had 100 million people. China would be so rich. They have full employment long time ago already. They are 100 million people. But they have 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 billion. So I say you have great asset. 90 million, that's what we like your country. Think of the 90 million consumer down the road, as opposed to 28 million here. I said, but Mr. President, one thing you must do, you should make your people here bilingual. They should learn English. They should learn, of course, you want to teach them Vietnamese. That's a national language. Everybody wants to do that. But you must make them bilingual. You must teach English side by side with your Vietnamese. And can you imagine if all your people are bilingual? You can speak English, you can speak Vietnamese. Your country will be great. You don't have to worry about employment. The world is the employment. They can go anywhere, they can get employed. Look at the Filipinos. Anywhere they'll be employed. You go on a boat cruise, and everybody is Filipino. You go to Filipinos. So they don't have to worry. But if you are just, you don't know that the Vietnamese will come and work here. What can they do? They just have to stay in the factory, do that thing. What else can they do? Because they don't know English. So how important English is, So that's why in my, because I say I'm blessed and we should always give back to society after we've done well. I always believe in that long time ago. And so I said, one way to contribute is this language, this English language. So that we make them all at least can speak, and later read and write a bit better. They all can read and write, but speaking is a problem. So after we get it, a lot of them will become more employable. The hotel industry will prefer to hire Malaysians if they can. Why would you want to employ Filipinos? We prefer to employ Malaysians. But now a lot of Malaysians don't speak English properly. And you go to the resort, they don't speak English, they try to avoid the guests. because they are so shy. You know, and then the guests say your hotel service is lousy. I see our guests, they are so shy, so afraid, because they don't speak English. So we are trying to do that. We just started the English program in Tioman, in Redang. You know, it was so heartwarming. I was in Tioman this last weekend. My general manager was telling me, you know, there are many housewives learning English. So we also teach housewives learning English. They also come and learn. So they have housewives, then they have adults at night, then they have school children after class coming. And we set that up, you know, with Souls 24. And Raj managed to get even volunteers from overseas, from Europe. They got European. And Raj just told me, I had a meeting with Raj today on how to expedite our program. Raj was telling me, if they bring European, actually it's very strange, you know, they bring European to the school, to the center to teach, the enrollment goes up. So I said, Raj, you must be good-looking Europeans.
No, it's just a perception issue here. I guess, is the mic with somebody who wants to share an angel story with Tan Sri? Somebody hands up so the mic can be passed. Anyone? No, do you have a question? Just a question. Okay, so you can use the mic. And I guess, just before you ask the question, Tan Sri, how important is gut feel for you when you want to invest in? Because you hear that a lot so much, right? And you just said something about.
That was my question.
Oh, that was not my question. Okay. Okay, then I'll ask him something else.
Okay,
you ask.
Okay. Firstly, I would like to congratulate you because clearly your support for the entrepreneurs is more than just making money. It's altruistic. It's helping people, and that's a great thing. I suspect you're also having a lot of fun too. So I guess we factor that in. Paul Graham of Y Combinator wrote a really good article the other week talking about how he's looked at so many investments and occasionally things come by him that don't make any sense at all. And a lot of the VC community talk about that some of the not obvious investments just pass them by because they feel strange, they don't stack up, and they let them go. But the community is starting to look more carefully at those things, thinking just because it doesn't feel right, let's not just turn our back on it. So I'm just wondering, in your experience, does that come past you where something comes across you and maybe intuitively you feel it's interesting, but maybe even the managers are saying, leave it alone? So how do you cope with that?
One thing I learned over the years, don't listen to your finance manager. But possibly, and not all the time. You know, for example, I tell you, this is not an internet business. You know, I was negotiating to buy 7-Eleven here in the year 2000. So they were asking for 80 million. So they make about 300,000. So they have 140 shops. So my finance guy was, how can we pay 80 million for 300,000?
18 or 80?
80. Oh, 80. 80 make 300,000 profit. You know? Make 300,000 profit. How can you pay 80 million? That's what he wants, and there's no other guys waiting. There's another guy waiting, a foreigner waiting. You know, maybe the foreigner, we don't buy foreigner, we knock him down, okay? But he wants 80 million. So my financial guy said, no way, it's too high, it's too many times PE and what PE. So I said, yeah, but how about we buy it and then we double the profit every year? No, how can you double profit? I said, maybe if you are lucky, we will double the profit. So 300,000, 80 million is what? How many times PE? Is 250 over times PE. So if you double it, then it's 125. You double again, maybe. You know, so I say, oh, maybe we can make it work. But I say, you know, we buy this for long term. We buy long term. We build the business. And one of the things I say is, we want to buy, we open a lot of shops and make it work. And we did that. So we paid 80 million. I paid 80 million. You know, then I did one of those silly things, you know, go and lease it for 600 million. And after 7 months, I said, oh my God, I made a mistake. So I took it back and paid them 30% more. So 7 months, they all get 30% more. They're all very happy. But I was like an idiot, but never mind. I decided that, no, I think I want to keep it. And if I give it a few more years, build say a few thousand stores, should be worth a couple of billions. And I think it's happening. It's happening because you are the dominant one, you are the first mover, you are like Astro, no? You are the only one, you are the biggest, so you pay a lot for it. So on that basis, this is what, if I listen to the financial guy, you won't buy, or you would tell, hey, no, 80, no way, man, how about 50? 50, he tell you to take a walk. So, to that your question. So, gut feel is so important. It's also gut feel. Of course, it's not, you can't double the profit every year, but I'm just saying, if I double, then just, but we'll try to make it work. But the gut feel is, I think we can make this work. You know, this is needed in all places, but the previous owner was not aggressive. Didn't open a lot of stores. We open a lot of stores, this company will be worth more. And it actually is true. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I actually have a question for you. So, we know that you've invested in quite a number of companies, but for every company that you invest in, how many companies have you sidelined or bypassed? I mean, just to get an average on, you know, investment versus those that fail to get investment. Maybe out of the proposal we see, maybe we invest in about maybe 20-30%. So maybe we see 10, we invest 2 or 3. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm more optimistic, maybe. So I try more goal attempts. The reason I came to that question was, at the end of the day, to get the right investor, it's either willing buy, willing sell. So for entrepreneurs side, going to 10 investors may not be sufficient. So as an entrepreneur, you need to go to as many investors as possible. It may be 20, 30 investors before you hit the right person who is willing to bet on you. So that's the case. So don't give up when you already went to 10 and 10 said no, and they say, oh, okay, there's really no investors here. You need to go up as often as possible to get.
And also, I must add, you also need to be lucky because not only after they invest, they got to continue. You got to find an investor that will continue to want to hold your hand and take you all the way. So I think in Ganesh's case, in the other investment that still stays with me and doing well, I continue to hold their hands, and on and off they come and say, you know, there's this thing, how about putting 2-3 million, shall we invest this, shall we do this, and study the thing. I say, what do you guys think? You guys say, oh no, I think we should do that. Okay, then let's do it. We'll put it down. So you got to, for Ganesh to be able to build, I mean, realistically, 2 million build a 1 billion company. It's possible, but tough. But in this case, I keep putting in money over the years until eventually my net investment is in, and now I almost have a net investment there of about 90 million. But very often I put myself at credit, put my credit on the line. I'm willing to go and go and take a loan. I sign as the guarantor. If I sign guarantor, the bank will give the money, because anything goes wrong, the bank asks me, I have to pay up. So you must, if you have investors who continue to hold your hand and want to continue to invest, then you have a better chance of building a bigger company. Because the initial investment may not be enough. You know, the initial investment, they may put 2 million, 5 million, and then after that, it runs out, and then what are you going to do? You close shop. So you can't close shop if you still want to save your original investor, you put in more money. But in Ganesh's case, it's just that we want to expand. Not that, they were already, we want to expand, and so we keep buying new things from buying different companies, buy a company in Thailand, buy a company in Vietnam, buy a company in India, in the Philippines, and now all over, now going to Brazil, to Turkey, US. So
I think Brazil, you make sure Ganesh doesn't go during the Rio festival. That is not type of business. Okay, I guess we need to end this now. Yeah, okay, Doc Siva has question or monologue? Question, okay. Sorry, couldn't help it. Doc Siva is great.
Hi, Tan Sri. Good to have you here.
sorry, Dr. Shiva is one of the leaders in the startup internet community in Malaysia.
Oh,
okay.
Thank you, Karan. Tan Sri is slightly different from angels and so on. I'm just a little bit more interested in your motivations. You came from a very poor family. So when you were young, what was it that motivated you? I mean, you went into business and so on. What motivated you when you were young? And now that you have more money than you can spend, you're already a multi-billionaire. You have so much money and you just retired. What motivates you today? When you wake up, what is it that you do when you wake up?
Yeah. When you're poor, it's easy to be motivated. You don't have to ask, right? So you know the answer. But I was blessed, in a way. Actually, I was supposed to go to New Zealand to study. Then that year, my father failed in his business. He's a small contractor. He failed. But my father and mother still said, never mind, you go, we'll somehow sort it out. I said, oh, no. I said, no way I'm going while you are struggling. So I came out and worked, and so that was great motivation. And then nowadays, retirement is, I actually retired from the public listed company, but I'm still giving advice and helping, like Tun Mahathir always joke, the British advisor, I'm like the British advisor. So we tell the management, you have to take the British advisor advice. So, now I'm motivated. I still want to make money, but I've pledged to give half my wealth away. I think some of you have heard of it. And I'm trying to do more charities work. Like this English thing is charity, that's for the community, and it's for Malaysian. And of course, we hope to take it to other countries as we can, as we grow.
Actually, you shouldn't say charity. This English thing is empowerment.
Sure, yeah, but it is, of course, with the aim to help the community, and I pledge to Raj father that I'll give 10 million. You spend it, and then I will come up. To spend it means you have to build a lot of centers, so they are rushing to build centers. So we will, and hopefully a lot of people who go to the national medium, Malay medium, when they come out, they go to this place, then they get to speak English well, and then hopefully all of them will get better jobs. And that will also, we hope it will motivate them to then continue to study and improve their English. And I think that would be good for all of us, because we need all these people to work one day. We want to hire people who can speak English, so that we can communicate with them and tell, go to the net and check this, check that. We don't know English, how to check? So by helping more people to speak and learn English well, we will indirectly, all of us, help ourselves in the long term, And so that's one of my big motivation, and of course, we try to help charities here and there. And I said, when I make the announcement, I said, nowadays we are overwhelmed with requests. So I don't know whether I did the right thing or not. But we'll try to manage and help wherever we can, and what we think is deserving cause, deserving individuals. Yeah.
It's great. I think we will end here now. I think all of us here, I think we could be a part of history also, because I think it's the first time that I know of, at least, a billionaire, not even just in Malaysia, maybe in Southeast Asia has done a Google Hangout thingy, So, Vikesh, do you think so?
Yes.
So, really, all of you were part of history here. But thanks to Tan Sri, thanks to all of you also for coming and for listening. And I guess Tan Sri has given us a bit of a tip also. If you want to get some money from him, because he's a Hokkien, right? You go and talk Hokkien what
No, speak English.
Okay, you pass. I'll just testify you. English all the way. Okay, thanks a lot. So, Tan Sri, you mingle for a while. Please come up and say hi, give him your plan or whatever, right? And then I'm going to carve out at least 10 minutes for SME LinkedIn. Is that okay, Tan Sri? Okay, good. Yeah. Right. So
Yeah, thank you. Nice meeting you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was
Because people will get education for free, and they will pay for other things.
but English, unfortunately, English, people that need it most don't have the money. You know, like I said, the low income people, it's so unfortunate. That's why we are trying to do this thing. You know. Yeah, I think Raj, there's a fantastic family.
The James is doing a wonderful job in the tax space. This application is